Should I wait for a crash before I buy a house? Well, you might be waiting a very long time. But don't take my word for it. Let's look at some real numbers and you can make the decision for yourself because all talk is just talk. So let's back it up with some real data. So, according to the MBS Highway, this first slide here, 2024 real estate forecast, household formations. Okay, so the blue line, those are formations of households, meaning people that are, in their 30s maybe, they're going to go out, move out of mom and dad's house, they're going to buy a home, they've gotten married, whatever, they're having kids, they're forming another address, so they need to live somewhere. And the orange line is home construction, so homes that actually get completed and are now for sale for purchase. You can see in 2014 that the household formations was significantly ahead of the homes being built. And it has been that way all through the last, 8-9 years up until now. So what that means is there's a lot of pent up demand for housing of people that still need houses. So with any industry, supply and demand is a big factor. So currently, based on this slide, there's a lot of demand for houses. And when there's a demand for something, typically prices just go up, and that industry doesn't go out of business. Before we jump to the next slide, if you're enjoying this content, be sure to like and subscribe for more. Really helps me out. I share a lot of real estate content on this channel, as well as local content about Oklahoma and Oklahoma life. So if you're into that, of course, like and subscribe for more, and let's jump into the next slide. This next one is talking about mortgage credit availability, or basically how many people are actually qualifying for loans. So you can see back in 2008, obviously, if you had, you could fog a mirror, people say, or if you had a pulse, you could get a loan. There was none of the restrictions that we have today. There was a lot of drive-by appraisals. Everyone was kind of in cahoots with each other. So a lot of that has all gone away. That world doesn't exist anymore. If you've seen the movie The Big Short, it explains it perfectly. That's the kind of thing that was going on in the mortgage industry. Everything in that movie is 100% true, and it is it's a very good documentary. That's not it's like a real movie. It doesn't feel like you're watching National Geographic or something. It's an actual movie, but everything that happens in that movie is true. If you've never seen it, it's pretty good. There is, I think, some cussing in it though, so if you don't want your kids to know about or watch that type of movie, just know that. But you can see there, ever since 2008, 2009, it all dropped. So 9 all the way until now, loans have been, you actually have to qualify for loans now. So that's why the process of qualifying for a loan, they need a lot of documentation, and all the T's have to be crossed, all the I's have to be dotted. You have to actually qualify for the loan, or they're not going to give it to you. So that was a big contributor to the crash, was all of these loans that people shouldn't have been able to get, and then when the bill came due, they couldn't afford them and crash, right? All those homes went up for foreclosure because they couldn't make the payments. Which brings me to the next slide, which is foreclosures. Now, foreclosures are at an all-time low. So you can see back 2008, 2009, 2010, people were getting foreclosed on in the millions. Compare that to now, 2023, 186,000 in the first 6 months of the year. That's nothing. So if there's not foreclosures happening, people are able to make their payments because they actually qualified for the loan. We're not going to see a crash in the foreclosure market like people saw in 2008. Some people also think, oh, I'm just going to buy a foreclosure. It's going to be this great deal. There's actually not that many of them available because people just aren't losing their home. And another thing is, if someone does get into financial trouble, that brings me to the next slide. So there's a lot of equity that people have if they bought their home prior to this last couple years. So if you bought your home during, 2019, 2020, 21, those were massive increase in equity. Now, you probably paid over asking to get a house in that market, but your home is probably worth 20% more than you paid for it, even if you bought it back in 2020, for example. So that's another contributor, is if you're facing financial troubles, odds are you have enough equity in your home to do a cash out refinance and get some of the money out to help you through, or just sell the home, make some money, and get into a place that's more affordable. So all of these slides factor into the brimming question at the beginning of this video is, should you wait to buy a house for the market to crash and get this great deal? Well, here's the deal. All of these slides from several different angles are telling us there's not going to be a crash. There is more demand for houses than ever before because there's more people in their 30s and 40s on the planet than ever before in the history of, America, that are needing housing. And then the next thing is people that are qualifying for loans actually have to qualify. So if a lender tells you you can buy a house, you best believe they've done their due diligence that you actually are going to be able to afford that payment, assuming, you don't lose your job and that kind of thing. And because people are actually qualifying for their loans, there's not that many foreclosures. I mean, the amount is minuscule compared to what happened in 2008. And also the appreciation. So because this huge jump in prices through 2020, 21, and 22, a lot of people have a lot of equity. So there's really no reason to get a foreclosure on your record and lose your house, because you can sell it, take that increase in equity, and purchase another home, or you can refinance your loan and get some of the money out. So there's a lot of options available to people versus getting foreclosed on. So if you're waiting for the market to crash, hopefully this video has been educational for you and you've learned some valuable information about the real estate market that you can share with your friends. Of course, if you found this video helpful, like I said earlier, I would love it if you would like this video and subscribe for more real estate information as well as local Oklahoma content. And I'll see you in the next video.